In this video we're going to cover the 500 chair and its features.
Next, we want to point out some important features of the chair. Located at the base of the chair, you've got an off-on button. When I push this, we completely disengage the chair and the delivery system and touchpad. So if you ever come in one morning, you turn on your delivery, nothing works, very first thing, go to this button and just make sure it's on. You never need to turn it off, it's simply for the service techs. By turning the delivery system off, you're doing the same thing, turning off the delivery system in the chair. So you will never need to turn off this button. It's simply for the service tech, but if it accidentally gets kicked somehow by a broom or whatever, it disables everything, and the simple fix is to just turn it back on. Coming over at the base of the chair, you have your safety plate. This entire lower portion of the chair is a safety plate. We don't want it to hit a purse or a person or a foot, and so this allows the chair to stop its downward function. So as I am lowering the chair, if it hits anything on its downward run, it will stop and reverse to get off that. A common call that the service department gets is this. When this foot control tubing is outside of the track, this being the inside, this being the outside, as the chair comes down, it's going to hit that tubing right here, and it's going to stop it, and it's going to back it back up. So the complaint by doctor is, hey, this chair doesn't go as low as that chair, and the fix is to put it back in the center of its channel, and everything works as it should. While we're on the foot control, you also have water on, water off. It's important that you refer to your touchpad for the icon of water on, water off. Please disregard the blue button, as we make many delivery systems but only one foot control. So please disregard this blue and just know we can flip this either way like a three-way switch, but refer to your touchpad for the water icon to make sure that your water's on. The button here, if you pick up your handpiece and hit this button, air will come out of the air port of your handpiece. That's to blow a chip off of the tooth or to dry a prep. So use this similar to the way you would use a syringe with a handpiece attached. Going up here is your chair brake. As we take this and pull towards me, this is going to allow your chair to swivel left to right. Put it in the desired position and lock it back. Going up the chair, you have adjustable armrest. Your armrests are fixed for patient enter-exit, but they also go forward all the way to allow you to put your foot in this hole and get as close as you physically can to that patient. Also, if the patient is too wide to fit in the chair, we can drop both arms and allow a larger patient to comfortably sit in the chair. Up to the headrest, you have multiple adjustments here. Without engaging any buttons, simply grab the back of the headrest and raise it up and down to the height of the patient. That's one adjustment. 2 and 3 are when you activate the thumb lever control. You squeeze, you have this adjustment as well as this adjustment at the same time. Let go and it holds its position. So this is again 1, 2, 3, and finally 4. You have 4 ranges of adjustment on your headrest. Next is programming the chair. Your first position with your chair is the enter-exit or seated position. So when I push this button, this should go to the seated position. Next is going to be your supine position. So we push this, the base would come up, the back would go down, and put you in the upper arch position. Going from the upper arch position to the lower arch position requires 2 buttons. One on the doctor's side, one on the assistant side that we'll review in just a second. The last button on the doctor's touchpad is the last position or short-term memory. What this does is we go to the factory setting of the chair, but then we're going to want to modify it for a large patient. So we might want to raise the chair up, bring the chair back, and when we do, we've modified the factory position for upper arch. Let's say that we want to take a break and go see the next patient. We don't want to hit exit, we want to hit the short-term memory button. So what that does is we push this button, it turns off your overhead light, and it brings the patient up to a relaxed position, not exit. So while you're working with the other patient, the patient is seated relaxed in the chair waiting for you. So we want to start by showing you how to program these buttons first to your preference. For me, I'm taller, this would be fine, but maybe for a shorter patient they might want to have to jump up. So we don't want patients to jump up or taller patients to struggle in and out of the chair. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop the chair in this position just a little bit to meet your average patient height getting in and out of the chair. Then we're going to want to take the back of the chair and run it all the way up till it stops. So here we're doing height and then back all the way up. Then we're going to program till we hear beep, beep, and then beep, beep, beep. Now the inner exit position has been programmed. Then we'll hit the upper arch, supine position, and see where the factory position takes it. As soon as that stops, we're going to modify it to our preference. So after it stops, you'll hear a click. The light will come on. At that point, we want to raise it up so you can slide up underneath the chair, bring the chair back down, whatever your preference is. Set right there. Program. Beep. Beep, beep, beep. Now your upper arch has been set. We'll show you in just a second how to do the lower arch. But the next thing is we want to set that position while that patient is rested in between this patient and the next patient you're working with. So we're going to bring the back up, not all the way up, but in a relaxed position. So right about here, so as the patient's seated, they're seated more like this as opposed to this. So we want them relaxed where they can text, watch TV, whatever. So I'm programming this one time, program, beep, 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 for that short-term memory. So this is this resting position. So starting from the beginning, we'll start all over. We'll have the patient hop in the chair. Now that they're in the chair, we're going to take them back. They go to that program position that you just programmed to your settings. As soon as the chair stops, your light will come on automatically. But let's say that when you get back, your arms are up and you need them relaxed. The patient is larger, so you're going to need to have shoulders down, elbows in. So we're going to bring the base up and the back down slightly. So now we've modified this setting that you just did for the upper arch. So we're working along, we anesthetize the patient, we say, patient, I'll be right back, I'm going to go see the next patient, and I'll come back and see you. The patient says, can you set me up while I wait? I don't want to lay back, I want to watch TV or text, whatever. Don't hit the return button, hit the short-term memory button here, and it will hold this position that you're at now, the modified position. When you hit this button, it'll turn off your light, and it'll bring the patient up to a relaxed position, not exit. So you see the slope of the back when it stops is right here versus way up here, which is the inner exit. So the patient is relaxed while they're waiting on you. Then when you come back to the room, either your assistant or you hit the same button that brought them up, will bring them back, and you'll be exactly where you were when you left. If you modify that again, once that patient's back, the light's going to come back on. If you modify that again, say to this new position, now this feature memorizes that new position, but it still brings them back up to the relaxed position. When you come back, hit that button and it goes exactly where you were for the new modified position. When we hit the exit button, it clears everything out and returns the patient. Now that we're in the upper arch position, doctor looks at me, the assistant, and says, lower arch. When we hit this button, you'll notice that the assistant has an extra button. Inner exit, upper arch, lower arch is the position that you do not have, and then we have that same last position. So doctor's in the upper arch, transitions to the lower arch and says, Mr. Assistant, will you please hit the lower arch position? I hit this button for you. which allows you to stay at your same focal distance, and the chair moves to a different position. This allows you to stay in your neutral, balanced posture while transitioning to the lower arch. Also, she's going to have, or he's going to have, the ability to bring that patient up for that short-term duration and then bring that patient right back as soon as they see you coming around the corner. Disinfecting with regards to the chair, feel free to disinfect the armrest as often as you need between patients. We really don't want any disinfectant sprayed on the chair. We want you to bag the back of the chair. We'd like a full barrier that goes from the top, it leads to the bottom, if not the entire run of the chair. That way, between patients, we can take the bag off and then put a new bag on and wipe the arms down. So please, no disinfectant on the chair. And then the toe cover comes off with Velcro on the bottom, and you can take these off and wash them, etc., or replace them.